Chapter 3. Stuff. Bug out bags. Hope bags. How deep into the story should we dive? Necessary supplies for the voyage. One never knew how much to pack, for in the end, you really can't plan on every little thing. You could be super prepped up, simply sit down on your bed wrong, tweak your back, and not be able to move. So he gathered what he could, but didn't overthink it. He had already survived a long time, and death would be a vacation from it all. He never asked to be here to begin with. This whole life. All these concepts of heaven, hell, sin, and discipline, punishment. Here we go again. Hit him with that. Yes, these thoughts drove him mad in the end. Stuff. The stringed instruments and songwriting. The old man had left all these guitars hanging all over the place. In the bedroom, the kitchen, the living area, the basement, the main lighthouse area. This was the way he survived the mental game. It all translated spiritually, physically, etc., etc. But mentally, this was the way he turned the blues and depression into musical energy to press on. So they were more important now than the observer may understand if they have not suffered mental anguish. Beat the hell out of someone and broken skin will heal. Beat the hell out of someone mentally and emotionally. Now we are dealing with psychological warfare, and that is the invisible, nefarious evil that is most hard to overcome and heal from. Deliverance in church services? Dude, please. Been there, done that. No, this is way deeper and ancient. David played his jams for King Saul to help with a demon? King David wrote laments, ancient blues songs, so my dude knew all about pain, sorrow, and suffering. King David and his issue with Bathsheba. Someone plays that Leonard Cohen song again. Just one more time, puke. Hallelujah. Do they know his name? Satan's name is Hallel. What in the world does Leviathan, the stringed instruments, and the evil one have in common? Rock and roll and all that it spawned. It was one of the main reasons fire has now come and is coming. The old man must have studied this because all sorts of information is written on scrap pieces of paper stuffed into various versions of the Bible all over his workshop/study. He had glanced over it all in sheer boredom and never got deep into it. But he got the gist. The Seamonster that was out there waiting was calling in lustful siren song through beautiful women. All the sailors' tales talk about it. Seaports and shanties. Sailor said, Brandy, you're a fine girl. What a good wife you would be. Recap thus far. The island lighthouse. The old couple buried. The shipwrecked boat. The old salt comfortably, miserably isolated. His hope. His challenge. Fear. Ship captain's wheel. Bug out bags. Guitars. The supplies were gathered and left by the old married couple who used to live there. Things pillaged from heavy metal fences torn down, and items scavenged from old supply sheds left by the building contractors, engineers, and maintenance men who originally set up and built the island lighthouse. After the weeks of prepping, he sets the place in order. I'm leaving this to the next person. There wasn't much left as far as food, but some, and the place was well built and well tended by the old couple. He had kept up the pace out of habit, as he was used to being a handyman, maintenance man in his former life as an undergrad. He could tell the place was well crafted and well made and tended to, so he felt honor bound to keep it up. 20-some years had passed and the place looked as good, if not slightly better than it did when he arrived. There was no need to burn it down. It was a safe refuge. No wonder the couple died here. If you had love, true love, you could live there most certainly 1,000 years. And the evidences were all over the place, weaved in and out. The old man made the wine cellar and stocked the good stuff in pure joy. He didn't drink to forget. He drank to celebrate life and the love of his life. He drank to the one who gave it all to them so freely. It was the old salt who drank incorrectly and got wasted and wasted it all. But that was the past. He looked back just long enough to note how far he had come. He dusted the shelves, made the bed. This place reminded him a lot of Bilbo Baggins' place. The wooden charm, the brickwork, the ironwork, the warmth of the tea kettle, and the cast iron everything. How this place still existed in this time of the world was simply a miracle. A room prepared for the loved ones. Family visited here, no doubt. All sorts of pictures littered the walls. And one could tell it wasn't easy. It never is. The magic of this place, the miracle of this place was something more profound. It was built on a rock, and no storm destroyed it, ever. Even upon inspection from the giant earthquake, oh, you forgot about that, did you? He thought, that was a strange trip. There was never an earthquake here in all the years, not a crack, not even up the sides of the lighthouse, nothing. Like it was made of steel. The cats again. What to do about them when he leaves? Leave them. Definitely leaving them. The comfort of the place actually now made him not want to leave. What a shelter it had been all these years. What a comfort in the pain. How well was it stocked with all he needed, even as his mind, weakened by the battle, by the shipwreck, things were easy to get to, easy to open. Health oozed from everything. Sleep came easy. Well, after he got through the DTs and the nightmare of all that. Madness. But even then, the old man had graceful, merciful ways of healing through that. He obviously had been through it. Yes, it was destined for him to have arrived. That is without question. Leaving now was bittersweet. He had no idea of where he was going. Death was assured somehow. The Seamonster waiting, and we haven't even gotten there yet. And that glimmer, that sliver of hope, even if she was an old lady, it didn't matter. That was the motivation. I want to marry you. That would be the first thing he says to her. All this went through his mind now as he cleaned and organized. Thunder in the background. Giant thunder. A thunder you could feel resonating through your soul. Uncommon thunder. Like it was saying something. He focused and worked with a sense of urgency. He dropped something on the kitchen floor, and right there he noticed directly beneath the wood stove he'd been cooking on. He'd walked over it 1,000,000 times. A little piece of the wood floor that said compass. It had a tiny hole in it, just small enough to get one's pointing finger into. All these years he thought it was just a wood knot, abnormalities in the wood grain, and simply dismissed it. He actually puked in the red bowl several times right next to it. That's weird. He picked up the wood, and beneath it was an astrolabe and a compass. There was a note. Quote, "Here you are, my love. You'll need this. Use this to get you off this place when I go. It'll take you to where you need to be." Another note was placed beside it. Quote, "Unnecessary, because I'm not leaving. I'm exactly where I need to be. But to the person who finds this, I give it to you." Oh, that's heavy. He teared up. Full stop. He sat down and spent the rest of the day just sitting there, on the floor, looking around the place. True love built this place, and now it was clear. 3D blue eyes. Clear, he thought. That meant it was supernatural in some way. It was no accident he was here. And all those cliches rushed in on him to seize the moment. But he brushed them aside. No, this is special. I need to savor this moment. The place was actually smaller now than he thought it was. At times it seemed a large space, but now a cozy little thing. All the years gone by, and it was just a shelter with interesting things placed all around. Now he noticed the flow, the organization. What he'd taken for granted was a well-orchestrated, well-planned way to live a simple life. And with joy. No wonder they never left. He'd say that over and over. Chapter 4, the dream, the gravesite, saying goodbye, heading towards the boat. He woke up early the next morning after a tripped out dream that he didn't want to wake from. Don't forget that. We'll discuss that later. But he woke, cursed slightly, made some tea, strong tea, mind-stimulating tea. Pounds of tea was stocked here, enough for 2 lifetimes, and how it was kept fresh is a simple, funny little secret that won't be revealed in this story. He went immediately to the gravesite. He read the gravestones, and it was strange. He could tell he was buried by her, but who buried her? There was nothing special about the gravestones. It simply had the initials of their names and the date they departed. It actually read, WW, departure date, 1993, and MW, departure date, 1997. They were virtually identical, but she had written on her gravestone, etched on the very top in pristine characters, like a laser did it, in very small letters. Look ahead. You are not expected to complete the task. Neither are you permitted to put it down. Again, they were identical, with identical lettering and craftsmanship. The graves faced east towards the ocean where the sun rises. He noticed now, as he looked directly ahead and below, the boat was in eyesight, not behind him or on the other side of the island, but right in front of him. And today, strangely enough, the wind was calm and gentle and warm. No signs of the Seamonster or its threats, just peaceful, quiet, calm. And that was it. He gathered his things and simply said, "Thank you, goodbye," and walked away. He left a Bible and a guitar on the graves. He used 2 simple glass display boxes they had used to store pictures in. It fit the objects perfectly. The boxes were heavy, strong, and well crafted. The glass was thick. As he walked away, he noticed for the first time the similarity of the last names on the graves and the last name of his long-lost love. We could spend a lot of time on the island, in the house, the lighthouse. We could investigate all that he did for 20 years, raising the animals, helping strangers, the drunken episodes, the DTs, and we could go further back and do the couple's story. But the Seamonster is what this story is about. So we leave this scene wanting to stay. It caught our emotional attention and hooked us. But we must force ourselves to move forward. We cannot stay where we are. It's an illusion of peace and safety. Anytime we get to live in love, that emotion is fleeting, a vapor. No, forge ahead. Look ahead. You are not expected to complete the task. Neither are you permitted to put it down. That phrase would appear and disappear in his mind.